Good evening, friends. So, I'm here with a new topic. Yes, the topic for the day is detailed analysis of recent notification issued by CBIC dated 3rd April 2020. Friends, I personally believe this particular discussion is very important because what was written in press note was quite different in press release, and what was written in press release is not same as given in notifications. So there is differences. There are some discussion which need your serious attention. So we will try to understand, we will try to decode this particular notifications. Notification 30/2020 to 36/2020, which was issued by CBIC on 3rd April 2020. This notification covers basically few points like composition dealers, the time limit for applying for composition scheme, the revised due date for filing composition returns, composition annual returns. Another topic is GSTR 3B, due date for GSTR 3B for different type of taxpayers, that is aggregate turnover up to 1.5 CR, 1.5 CR to 5 CR and 5 CR and above. We will talk about GSTR 1, extensions that has been given for GSTR 1. We'll talk about e-way bill provision. Yes, a very important extension, a very important relaxation that has been given with by issuing this particular notifications is extension of validity of e-way bill. So these are major topics which we need to discuss in this video. So starting with the first topic, which is in notification number 30/2020 central tax rate composition levy. Now, first of all, I would like to share with you that in my every presentation at the top you can see the notification numbers for your reference, and rest we will discuss in our video. First of all, compulsion levy. In notification 30/2020, it has been mentioned that if any dealer wants to opt for composition scheme, he can file CMP 02 by the end of 30th June 2020. Yes friend, 30th June 2020 tak CMP 02 can be filed. Now, along with CMP 02, there was a requirement of filing ITC 03, whereby you need to reverse input laying with you in form of semi-finished goods, finished goods, raw material or capital goods. And reversal of this input has to be done by filing ITC 03. Now, the date for filing ITC 03 has been extended till 31st July 2020. Yes, 31st July 2020. This is the entire discussion in notification number 30/2020 of central tax. Now, moving ahead, we will discuss about notification number 34, which discusses various due date which has been changed or extended for the composition dealers. So, as you can see, form CMP 08. What is form CMP 08? To pay taxes by the composition dealer. Form CMP 08 for the period January to March 2020. The date has been extended to 7th July 2020. Now, this is about payment of tax. Yes, CMP 04 for 2019-2020 has been extended till 15th July 2020. Has been extended till 15th July 2020. But you may have a question, what about the period that is April to June 2020? So friends, let me make it very clear, there is no extension for the period first quarter of 2020, that is April to June 2020, and the date remains as it was, that is 18th of July 2020. So moving further with our next discussion. Now next discussion is on GSTR 3B. Friends, GSTR 3B due dates has been mentioned in this notification for the period, for the month February, March and April, also May, right? But GSTR 3B has been categorized for three different categories of taxpayers. First category is our 5 CR turnover in preceding financial years. Please remember, it is preceding financial year. Turnover of 5 CR in preceding financial year. Another is 1.5 CR to 5 CR aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year. And the third one is aggregate turnover below 1.5 CR in the preceding financial year. These three categories has been given in the notification, which we will decode one by one, right? So we start with taxable person having an aggregate turnover of 5 crore and more, So friends, this particular thing is mentioned in notification number 31/2020 central tax, in which it has been mentioned that a registered taxable person whose aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year is 5 crores or more, for them the due date for filing 3B for the month of February 2020, March 2020 and April 2020 is 24th June 2020. Yes friends, for February, March and April, that is February, March and April 2020, the due date for filing 3B is 24th June 2020. But what about May? So for May, there is another notification which mentions about the due date for filing the return for the month of May, which we will discuss in our next topic, right? So if the returns for February, March and April are filed within 24th June 2020, no late fees shall be imposed. No late fees shall be imposed. But what about interest? So friends, in this particular notification, that is 31/2020, it has been mentioned that interest shall not be charged, right friends? So if March 2020, return for March 2020 is due, so what is the due date for filing the return for March 2020? It is April 20. So if the return is filed within April 20 plus 15 days, that is 5th of May 2020, then no interest needs to be paid by the taxpayer. But what if he files the return after 5th May but before 24th June? Friend, in that case, the taxpayer is liable to pay interest at the rate of 9% beyond 5th May 2020 till the date of filing of return. Right friends? So we need to understand that this particular notification is especially mentioning the interest payment. There is a subsidized rate of interest, that is 9% if the return is filed 15 days beyond the due date and before 24 June 2020. So let us discuss a small example to understand the applicability of this 9% in this particular scenario. Friends, in this example you can see the tax due for the period of March is 5 lakh rupees. So what is the due date for filing return of March 2020? It is 20th April 2020, right? So till what time the return can be paid so that interest need not to be paid? it is 5th May 2020. If the return is filed before 5th May 2020 in this particular example, no late fees, no interest is liable to be paid by the taxpayer. But what if we file this return on 10th May? So friends, what is the delay in number of days? It is 5 days delay, as you can see in this example, 5 days delay in filing of return. So interest will have to be paid for 5 days at the rate of 9% on day basis, right friends? So the interest comes to 616 rupees needs to be paid if he files this return by 10th of May 2020. To understand further, let us take a small example again to see what is the impact if the return is filed beyond 24th June 2020. So the example is same, but the date of filing of return in this particular case is 30th June 2020. Friends, 30th June 2020. So return of March was not filed, or rather filed on 30th June 2020. But what was the due date for filing of return? That was April 20, 2020. So since this return is filed beyond the revised due date which is mentioned in this particular notification, that is 31/2020, the benefit of 9% of interest rate will not be allowed to the taxpayer. Yes friends, the benefit of 9% of interest rate will not be allowed to the taxpayer. Now in this case, he will have to pay interest at the rate of 18% from April 20th to June 30th. April 20th to June 30th. What the taxpayer has lost in this particular case, the benefit of interest at the rate of 9%, and also the extension of time period of 15 days. So he will have to pay the complete interest, that is from April 21st to 30th June 2020. So in that case, he needs to pay 17,507 rupees. Right friends? So moving ahead, we need to now discuss about turnover which is beyond 1.5 CR but below 5 CR. Right? First category was above 5 CR. Now this is beyond 5 CR but above 1.5 CR. So in this case friends, the return for the month of February and March can be filed within 29th June 2020. February and March can be filed within 29th June 2020, and April 2020 return can be filed within 30th June 2020. For this particular taxpayers, that is turnover between 1.5 CR to 5 CR, there are changes in due date, that is February 20 can be filed within 29th June, March 20 can be filed within 29th June, and April 20 can be filed by 30th June 2020. If the returns are filed within this particular due dates, no interest, no penalty, no late fees shall be imposed on the taxpayer. However, if return is filed beyond this particular due date, everything will be applicable as per the Act. So let us move to the third category of the taxpayer, that is taxpayer having aggregate turnover below 1.5 CR in the previous financial year. Yes friends, always remember we are talking about previous financial year. We are not talking about the aggregate turnover of this financial year. We are talking about previous financial year, right? So for taxpayer whose turnover is below 1.5 CR, for them the due date for filing return for the month of February 2020 is 30th June 2020. February 2020 is 30th June 2020. March 2020 is 3rd July 2020. 3rd July 2020. And April 20 is 6th July 2020. So this was all about GSTR 3B for for February, March and April for all three categories of taxpayers. But the question arises, what about the due date for the month of May 2020? So for May 2020, a notification number 36/2020 Central Tax has been issued, in which it has been mentioned the due date for filing of GSTR 3B for the month of May. So let us discuss this particular notification, that is notification 36. Friends, taxpayer having an aggregate turnover above 5 CR, we are again talking above 5 CR. For those kind of taxpayers, the due date for the period March 2020 for filing GSTR 3B is 27th June 2020, right? Again, no interest, no late fees, no penalty for this particular month if filed within 27 June 2020. But again, for the month of May, we need to discuss for another category of taxpayer whose turnover is below 5 CR. Now friends, for May, we need to understand there are two categories in which the states are divided for filing of 3B. For the states like Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra and so on, you can find this particular name of the states in my current slide, right? So for this particular states having for these taxpayers of this particular states having turnover below 5 CR, the due date for filing 3B for May 2020 is 12th July 2020. 12th July 2020. And in the same way, for the rest of the states, as you can see in this particular slide, the due date is 14th July 2020. So hope this particular scenario is clear, friends. We move ahead with this with our discussion on notification number 33/2020. Friends, 33/2020 talks about filing of GSTR 1, but no categorization has been done on the basis of aggregate turnover for this particular returns, that is GSTR 1. So all taxpayer irrespective of aggregate turnover will file their return for March, April, May by 30th June 2020. Repeating it again, friends, all taxpayer irrespective of the aggregate turnover of the preceding financial year shall file their GSTR 1 for the month of March, April and May 2020 by 30th June 2020. But a question may come up, what about the taxpayers who are filing return on quarterly basis? So the taxpayer who are filing return on quarterly basis for the quarter January to March 2020, the due date has been mentioned as 30th June 2020. Yes friends, so in this particular case, GSTR 1 for the month February, March and April 2020 along with quarter January to March 2020, the due date for filing of GSTR 1 has been mentioned as 30th June 2020 in the notification number 33/2020. So friends, moving ahead, notification number 36, which talks about any time limit for completion or compliance which falls during the period from 20th March 2020 to 29th June 2020. Any compliance which is due in between 20th March 2020 to 29th June 2020. So what are the compliances that are due? Friends, GSTR 5, GSTR 6, GSTR 7 and GSTR 8. For all this kind of returns which are due on 20th June 2020 to 29th June 2020, the revised due date as mentioned in notification 36/2020 is 30th June 2020. Apart from this, friends, two small discussions and both of them are very important, so please concentrate. Notification number 35/2020 mentioned about validity of e-way bill, right? So extension of validity of e-way bill. They have mentioned in this particular notification that any e-way bill which expires between 20th March 2020 to 15th April 2020. Please note the date 20th March 2020 to 15th April 2020 shall be deemed to have been extended till 30th March 2020. It is very clear that way bill which are expiring between 20th March 2020 to 15th April 2020, those EV bill, the validity of those EV bills shall be deemed to have been extended till 30th April 2020. Last discussion which has been mentioned in notification number 35/2020, friends. In this notification, it has been mentioned that any completion of any proceeding or passing of any order or issuance of any notice, intimation, notification, sanction or approval or such other action by any authority which falls between 20th day of March 2020 to 29th June 2020 shall be deemed to be extended till 30th June 2020. Yes friends, this means that if the department was supposed to issue any summon, any notices to you, any DRC 01A or any such kind of notices to be served to you, or any approval of refunds which falls between 20th March 2020 to 29th June 2020 shall be deemed to be extended till 30th June 2020. Also, where the taxpayer was supposed to file any appeal, reply or application or furnishing of any report, written document within the period 20th March to 29th June 2020 shall be deemed to be extended till 30th June 2020. So friends, this was all about notification number 30/2020 Central Tax to 36/2020 Central Tax. Hope I was able to explain you the paragraph wise interpretation or analysis or decoding of this particular notification. In case of any query, you can mail me, you can send, call me up on my contact details which have been given. Soon we will come up with our next video on something very interesting. Till then, thank you.